So we have Ben Holmes. You just had a speech about, well, green computing in general here at Future Frontend. Well, maybe you want to give us a little recap on what you were talking about.
Yeah, so it was a talk about sustainable development, so more practical applications to measure the carbon emissions of websites that you build. We talked about the predominant tools to measure things, which is like the web carbon calculator, if you've seen that website, that measures bytes transferred over the wire. And we broke down how, well, sometimes that model can break down, and it doesn't hit all the nuances for how much CPU is your server using, how many, or what's the weight of a JavaScript file versus an image file. There's a lot of nuance that goes into it, and we break that down.
So what would be like maybe some concrete steps that developers can do to start being more green?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things you can do. I like starting from the database and the server level because it's your hardware. You can control it. There's a lot fewer variables to think about. And there are tools for SQL servers and other pieces that will tell you, hey, this query that you're running is the least efficient part of your stack. Querying for all the users by a given birth date, I don't know, is taking 200 milliseconds and you run that query a lot. Maybe you want to optimize that one. MongoDB Atlas is one that does that. PlanScale is another one. But there are open source tools that do it as well. If you can go there and just figure out how do you improve just the CPU usage of your hardware, it's a good first step to figure out how to make things faster. And moving things to server compute is also great. Reducing your JavaScript bundle size as much as possible is actionable. But start from the pieces that you know. Look at your server, look at where you're hosting, and try to make the backend run as quickly as you can.
What are like some basic, decisions that we can make on the language or the frameworks that we use as for example, front-end developers?
Right. I mean, when it comes to frameworks, I say just use what you know, because if you can reduce the number of bugs and other foot guns in how you hold it, you're going to improve energy usage because you know how to use it efficiently. So don't think we got to change to a Kotlin shop or a Go shop and we have to relearn everything. Because for a few years, you're going to probably write really inefficient Go or Kotlin, and it would have been better to just stick with a language you already knew. But if you want to put in the work and you know different languages, like Go is a popular one, and also Rust. If you have that experience, you can hire for it and you can build efficient code. Those stacks can help you with better practices. When it comes to like the full stack, I know Laravel and Ruby on Rails are very batteries included and help you with that piece. And if you're just writing backend and microservices and you have a very narrow scope, Golang is a pretty good choice. But use what you know is the big takeaway for me. Write less bugs. Know how to make it run quickly.
Oh, that's a very good point. Okay, so I think we all know that in product teams, we don't really have like green requirements like when we're coding. And how would you start introducing even just a conversation to that level?
Yeah, I mean, the easy parallel is between performance and conversion and green computing, because if you can make a website render more quickly, you can reduce the workload of your backend, you'll probably deliver content to your users more quickly. In e-commerce, it matters a ton how many milliseconds you save. So it's a very practical level of, oh, we're going to spend some sprint time making this backend function a little bit more effective because we get a lot of traffic, and translate to greener usage because there's just less going on the backend service, and it also has like an actual monetary value. If you can attach money to the metric, then it's easier to sell. So if you can get in that way, it's really effective. And there are also tools that can at least open the door to the amount of CO2 usage that you have. Web Carbon Calculator is one of them. You can plug in the URL that you are hosting your website, and it'll spit back the amount of CO2 it might be emitting. In my talk, we talk about a lot of nuance and where that number can lead you astray. But if you're seeing a very, very low rating, it can start a conversation. Hey, our company value is sustainability. If you can align company values with this, you could say, our company values this. It's part of it even beyond the monetization angle. So if we want to just have morale and also just a good message for social media and marketing purposes, we're going to really focus on this problem. So that can be another avenue, is just aligning the mission of the company with what you're trying to do. It's harder, but these days it's definitely an easier conversation to have than it was like 10 years ago. It's more in the public conscious.
For sure. Okay, finally, since you're a developer at Astro, what do you think Astro does better than other companies?
That's the question I want. There we go. So Astro's most effective with content-driven websites. It's where we focus. So homepages, documentation, blogs, we focus really deep on that in ways that other web frameworks do not. So we're really effective in dealing with complex problems, like working with Markdown and React in the same code base. It can be a little funny to embed React and bundle everything, but we handle all that for you. And also just embedding different frameworks into a server app. We have this Astro templating language that lets you just write server-side code that feels a lot like JSX and JavaScript that you're familiar with, and embed any component inside of it. So React, Vue, Svelte, Solid, whatever you're using, you can bring it to us. And we can help you make really fast server-side templates, so that landing page for that new product you're promoting on socials just loads instantly. And you can use the same exact component library you already have. You can choose whether or not you're shipping JavaScript with those components, so you can just strip off all of the bytes that you're transferring without having to do any work. So it's really approachable. It's good for microsites and those like one-off examples, like Porsche redesigned just their landing page to be using Astro and Vue components since it made sense for them. And they saw, great conversion. Things are loading a lot quicker than they were before, and it's a good showcase of their products. So that's really where I like to recommend Astro. You have one sliver of your site. It's got to be fast, can't be too much work to get going. Astro really thrives there.
Thank you. And thank you for coming all the way to Finland to share your insights. It was amazing.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. I mean, beautiful place, tough language. Saw some talks that can help me out there. So I'll be going back through those. But it's been great.
Thank you.